Okay, so what if you could just build a community from scratch? And I mean really from the ground up. One where technology isn't just some gadget, but it's the actual foundation that provides free housing, free education, even free opportunity. Sounds pretty out there, right? Well, that is the incredibly bold vision behind this project we're going to look at today, CassAI and the Works. And look at this. This isn't some slick corporate mission statement. Nope. This is the real deal. Raw, handwritten notes straight from the project's notebook. It just kind of hits you, right? And it makes us ask the one big question that's going to drive this whole explainer. Is this just a pie-in-the-sky dream, or could this actually be a practical blueprint for a totally new way of living? So, before we can even try to answer that, we've got to wrap our heads around just how big this vision is. We're not talking about a few small tweaks here and there. This is a proposal to completely rethink everything, starting with our most basic human needs. Yeah, forget all the corporate buzzwords. The goal here is laid out so clearly. Give people the basics for a good life. We're talking free housing, free food, free tech, and maybe most important of all, the free right to choose. See, that's the key. It frames this whole thing as empowerment, not just some handout. And this isn't just for one little town either. The ambition here is massive. It scales globally. They're literally looking a century into the future. The idea is to build a whole system, a new kind of infrastructure that can actually handle the huge technological changes that are coming our way and do it safely and fairly for everyone. All right, a vision this huge doesn't just pop out of thin air, right? It takes a pretty unique perspective. So, who's the person behind this whole thing? Let's take a look at the founder's journey. Okay, so the founder's background is, well, it's a really fascinating mix. On one side, you've got all this practical, boots-on-the-ground experience in engineering and construction, the skills to actually build stuff. But then on the other side, you've got these deep dives into AI ethics, systems engineering, and even psychology. It's this exact blend of the how to build it and the why we should build it this way that really powers this entire project. And this isn't just some thought experiment. All of that experience, all that knowledge, it's all focused on one specific goal, building systems that are designed from the ground up to support neurodivergent individuals. And the thinking here is really profound. If you can design a system that works for them, you actually end up creating a more adaptive and inclusive community for everybody. This one quote right here, it tells you everything you need to know about the project's core belief. The whole system isn't about fixing people. No, it's about recognizing that different minds have different, uneven strengths. The whole idea is that our current world is kind of optimized for the average person, and in doing that, we totally failed to nurture all these unique talents. This one idea, it shapes everything else we're about to see. Okay, so we've got this huge vision and the unique perspective of the founder. But how does it all actually work? Let's break down the ecosystem they've designed to make this change happen. So the whole thing is basically built on three big pillars that all work together. First, you've got CassAI. Think of it as the core AI engine that's creating these new adaptive learning systems. Then, that AI powers Jarvis, which is a personalized learning setup for each person. And finally, you have the Works. That's the bridge to the real world. It takes all this theory and tech and actually puts it into practice. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like this. CassAI is the brain. It's doing all the research and development. And the Works is the hands. It's the part that actually gets out there in the community, building things and making it all happen. And the way they've structured the organization is really smart. It's basically a pipeline, right? It's designed to take these big, high-level ideas and turn them into real-world impact. Everything starts with CassAI research. From there, it informs the Works Global for the big-picture strategy. Then, those ideas get tested out on a smaller local level. And once they're proven to work, Community Works is the group that delivers them straight to the people. It's a complete cycle, from a spark of an idea all the way to real-world implementation. Okay, a grand vision is great and all, but the big question is always, how do you pay for it? How does it keep going? So let's get into the practical blueprint that makes this whole thing not just function, but actually grow. So this is the secret sauce. This is the economic engine that powers the entire vision. On one side, you have a for-profit business, in this case, a company that does property restoration. The money that business makes, it directly funds the community initiatives on the other side, like offering pay-what-you-can-afford coding classes. It's a brilliant, self-sustaining loop where professional work directly fuels social progress. And what's really cool is how it's designed to grow.
Instead of becoming this giant, clunky, top-down organization, they use what's called the partner branch model. It basically lets trusted partners run their own companies and manage their own local hubs. So they all stick to the same core mission, but they have the freedom to do what works best for their specific area. It's not a pyramid, it's more like a network that can grow organically all on its own.
All right, so we've seen the vision, we've seen the structure, we've seen how it's funded, but let's zoom out for a second and look at the single biggest idea that holds this entire thing together. It's a totally new way of thinking about where innovation should even come from. I mean, think about it. Where does innovation usually happen? It's in some university lab totally separate from the real world, or locked away in a corporate R&D department. This model just throws that whole idea out the window. The goal here is to put innovation directly inside the communities. That way, the new tools and ideas are immediately useful and relevant to the actual people they're supposed to help. And this whole philosophy really boils down to 3 simple rules. First, community first. That means every single project has to provide real, tangible benefits to the local area. Second, open research and innovation. Development should be collaborative, not hidden away. And third, and this is maybe the most important one, practical implementation. Ideas are great, but they don't mean a thing until they're turned into real-world solutions that people can actually use. So that brings us right back to where we started. This thing, it's not just a project. It's a blueprint. It's a plan for a self-sustaining ecosystem that creates innovation and keeps it within the community instead of letting it get pulled out by big corporations. Which leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. Is this the future of how our communities build and grow?